the holiday tomorrow, taking a look at it over the course of the season, what aspects of the team have you been most thankful for?
I'm really just grateful and thankful for this group's resilience, their growth. You know, you sit back and reflect on the things that, you know, we achieved last year and just watching the growth happen. I think we talked about it 2 days ago as a staff, the Detroit game, coming back from the West Coast, and then Charlotte's game, their ability to play through, you know, being fatigued, being tired, not making shots, but just the ability to stay the course and find ways. I think that just shows tremendous growth in a group and how tight they are as a group.
Coach, you made it clear that protecting home court is a priority this season. What is it going to take for the Orlando Magic to protect their winning streak tonight?
Transition defense and defending the three. I think I probably say that every night now in the NBA, but transition defense and defending the three. And our ability to do that will start with taking care of the basketball, getting the right shots, securing rebounds, to not give up offensive rebounds, and then just making them have to play in the half court.
Coach, you talk about transition defense. This Bulls team is top 2 in pace and top 5 in assists, but they are on the second night of a back-to-back. How do you hope to maybe exploit some tired legs while disrupting the passing lanes?
We will not use that as a reason or an excuse, because they are still a fast-paced team that's going to get up and down and play fast. So we can't hope that they're tired. We have to play the style of basketball that we need to play, both defensively and offensively, and then they get Lonzo back tonight. So I think that even pushes the pace even more. So our ability to focus in and concentrate on getting back in transition first and foremost.
You get Jalen and Wendell back. How will you start tonight?
I'll let you know a little later.
For Franz is 4th in total steals. Obviously, we know we know that to play for you have to defend, but he's done a lot of scoring as well recently. Does he get enough credit on the defensive end, do you feel like?
From us, I believe so, and that's one thing I'm thankful for, Dan. Is Franz's defense, his ability to play both sides of the ball. And, you know, you look at his numbers and throughout the league, you know, he's top 5 in individual defense. And I just think that his ability to guard multiple positions, his length, his IQ, beating guys to spots and positioning is just tremendous for, you know, for what we're asking him to do on both sides of the ball.
Coach, you were on this morning with Frank Isola and Scalabrine, and Scal brought up kind of the way the league is going with the three-point shot. Last game you played Charlotte, they're top 3 in three-pointers attempted. Now you play Chicago, they're top 2 in the league. So how important is it for you kind of to make sure that your guys are, you know, remaining poised and following the game plan when you're playing against teams that like to shoot the three? Just is it difficult to, you know, make sure that your guys are not kind of chasing that?
Chasing it offensively or defensively?
Offensively, as other teams shoot threes and they're feeling like they have to shoot threes to kind of keep up.
We have to follow our identity. We have to stick to our standard. And, you know, since we've been here, our standard one is defense, which creates an easy offense. But then our ability and who we have on our team is guys that are fast, that can get downhill, that are physically strong, that can attack the basket and get to the free throw line. And within that strength, you know, you find what the defenses do. They collapse. And so we spray out for feet set threes. The quality of shots is not as important, it is more important than the quantity. Just because we're shooting a lot of them doesn't mean they're going in, as we've seen.
Jamahl, you mentioned earlier the growth of your group as through your tenure, really not just last year, but, you know, as you started to where you are now. How much growth and maturity do you think that this team has earned just kind of over that span?
I mean, you can't really put it into words, I think, because it shows up, and like I said, in those 2 games that easily could have been excuse games. And the fact that they're not making any excuses for anything that's happening is a lot of growth for this group. It started in this summer with those guys getting together on their own. And that's growth. That's them taking it and saying exactly what we need to do, holding themselves accountable, taking ownership of this team, along with our staff that just continues to pour into these guys day after day. You can't say in words what the growth of this team has been.
Coach.
Coach, you briefly mentioned Lonzo Ball coming back for Chicago, and very similar to Jonathan Isaac, the first 7 years of his career been extremely injury derailed. Having worked alongside Jonathan Isaac, having him have to go through so much rehab and all the hard work to get back onto the court, what words of wisdom or intellect would you give to a guy like Lonzo Ball, who's now finding his way and getting back to being healthy?
I think guys that go through multiple injuries over periods of time have a direct appreciation for the game. And even before Lonzo got hurt, you can see his love for the game. I loved watching him play, he just had a charisma, a style about him that involved everyone. Some of our coaches had coached him, and you talked about his character and who he was, just a great individual. So I'm sure he's getting a ton of advice, and the thing is just taking it one game at a time and appreciating every time you get to touch the floor. But guys that have been off know that they don't have to be told that. They appreciate every time they get to hit the floor, because you're not guaranteed, all 82 games in this league, or years in this league. So each game is important, that you have to have that perspective as players and as coaches.
You talk about the growth, you talk about resiliency. You're one of 2 teams in the league to be 9-1 over your last 10 games. How would you evaluate those elements, especially with Paulo still being forced to watch from the sidelines?
Well, Paulo's coaching on the sideline too, so I think our guys are doing a great job of adjusting. And it goes back to what I said before, of their ability to take ownership of this group, of this team, of themselves, and hold each other accountable. And so it's a ton of growth in that regard, that they just said, we're going to do this, and it's a different style. Everyone had to take on different roles and responsibilities, and everybody has accepted those roles and responsibilities. And I think that for a team, missing their star player, it says a lot that guys understand exactly where they are, to not have an ego in that regard and just say, we're going to do whatever is necessary to help this team become successful.
Thank you, Coach.